Hiya, welcome to my fearless world. I'm Sue Kerr and I'm just doing this lighting right. Okay, alright, so I'm Sue Kerr and I'm very happy to welcome you to my fearless world. This is the first in a planned series of weekly Facebook Live that I'm going to be doing throughout 2019, where I'm going to be chatting about various topics related to having and or improving our overall mental well-being, and perhaps more importantly, overcoming the obstacles and challenges we face along the way, which serve nothing. These obstacles serve nothing other than to keep us rooted exactly where we say we don't want to be. Sound familiar? You're in the right place, assuming the Facebook stays live and I don't fall off my perch, so to speak. Right, okay, so housekeeping. I am not the most tech savvy of people, as most of you who know me will actually know. So if you have any questions during this live, pop them in the comments below, together with any comments that you might sort of regard as a ha-ha moment, and let me know what you think. Likewise, if something I say triggers something in you that you think, so-and-so might benefit from learning that or hearing about that, please feel free to tag them, invite them on, or just share retrospectively when I post the recording up later on. And as I said before, any questions, I'm not able physically to type and respond to you all at the same time. So tap your comments in below. I will reply as and when I get chance shortly. Okay, so who is Sue Kerr? Well, today, I'm somebody who works with people from all walks of life, and largely with people who, amongst other things, are so busy that they feel they neither have the time nor the right to put themselves first in any way. I teach them to confidently eliminate overwhelm and stress, whilst empower them to fearlessly live happier and more confident lives. Now, it's really important that we're able to do this. When we can live happier, meaningful, confident lives in our own way, on our own terms with a purpose and passion, I promise you, mates, I promise you, it's the massive difference between existing in the shadows, particularly if you're dancing to somebody else's tune, or living your life in glorious technicolor. For those of you who've known me any length of time, you'll you'll more than likely know me for who I once was. And not only who I once was, but the journey that I've had to undertake and travel to get to become the person that you see here before you today. Somebody who's not particularly very savvy when it comes to Facebook Live, to be fair, and who's at the same time trying to read her notes to make sure she doesn't forget anybody. However, this person is somebody, whether you love me or loathe me, whether you understand what I do these days or not, whether you think I've totally lost the plot or I am the next best thing to sliced bread, it doesn't matter. I appreciate all your thoughts, I truly do, but this person is somebody who can finally sit here today and say to you, do you know what? I am absolutely, totally, 100% immensely proud to be someone who can finally pride herself on being authentically me. And moreover, who's self-aware enough to live intentionally, to live life intentionally and on purpose, and who's become passionate about empowering others to do the same in the role that I find myself in today, which is as an empowerment coach, a speaker, a recently qualified NLP practitioner, and more importantly, somebody who considers herself a catalyst for effecting the long-lasting positive change in others that they seek. The key word there is that they're seeking. And more importantly, empowering them to have the courage to be who they really are. And in all honesty, that's something I was brave enough to do for the longest of times. Why? Well, because this person, same person who's immensely proud of herself today, this person is also someone who's had a significant historical journey along life's loneliest of roads. Yeah, that of mental ill health. If anybody's ever been down that road, you'll know what I mean when you say, when you're in that tunnel, you can be alone in a room full of 500 people. You may as well be on the moon. All right, it really is the loneliest of places, but this is far from a woe is me tale. Suffice to say, the reasons for my mental health are long and varied and far too big for this Facebook Live, but as many of you will know, it subsequently saw me descend into near fatal alcoholism in September 2012. Now, the reasons for such a tragic and spectacular decline, and as though those of you who know me from my Amdram world, you'll know I'm nothing if not dramatic, they are very varied, but suffice to say that in surviving, I gradually realised that I finally had to take a chance to choose to change. It's as simple as that. And then I realised I had so many, pardon my French, so many bloody things to change. I actually didn't think I could do it in the early days. But I understood the fact that if I wanted to live and live a life that was mine, I was finally going to find the courage to do it. And I wanted to be somebody. I knew deep down that I wanted to be that somebody who could live her life no more or less than as somebody who came to be seen as fearlessly authentic. Now, fearless has lots of connotations that are, that count for nothing. We say we're going to do stuff, unless we actually do it, nobody gives a monkey's uncle, to be honest. But for me, it's a matter of pride, that I now pride myself that being fearless for me is being vulnerable enough to have the courage to be seen, to be able to be seen, I should say, for somebody who I really am. What you see is what you get, okay? Marmite, love me, loathe me. I thank you and bless you for your part in my journey thus far, however you see me. However, this is not about me these days. I've become passionate about helping other people to step up to and into the best version of themselves. But I knew more than anything, before I could do that, before I could pay my experience, if you like, forward, before I could share the traumas and the triumphs and all the rest of it, I knew that I had to change my story, my inner diatribe, that sort of mind monkey, the inner critic. You can't do this, you can't do that, if you do this they'll think this, and so on and so forth. And I knew I had to change it, because my life, like most of us, my life is historically one that's strewn with the pieces of a broken jigsaw, that one of endless mistakes, poor choices and awful truths, but actually one which also, when it comes down to it, is a story of survival, renewed hope, fresh optimism and gratitude for an inner peace that comes with finally having the courage to be who and what I really am. Now, it's been a long and it's a dramatic journey, one of amazing highs and devastating lows and everything in between, to be honest, but I'm no different in that than anybody else. But along the way, and the key difference for me, this me, as opposed to the other me, is I've come to know and understand and own my own truth. When we own our own truth, we take an ever larger step, in my humble opinion, towards becoming authentically us for the first time ever. My journey was such that in doing so, I learned that the story that we tell ourselves can and does get us into trouble, especially when we're ruled by and live from a fear-based outlook on life. Whether we realise we're doing it or not, if we're coming from a fear-based perspective, then we're going to be the sort of person that won't try because we think we can't for various reasons. So having said all that, I decided it was time to do something about redressing the balance. For me, for sure, in the early years. And that took me, 2 or 3 years to get to even remotely thinking about, rolling anything out into the wider world. I had to put myself right and make amends within my own family life. But I decided to redress the balance, and in doing so, I understood very quickly that I could also help other people to do the same. Because I also learned that our habitual negative, self-limiting beliefs and behaviours serve only to keep us rooted exactly where we say we don't want to be. But that said, I also learned that it's never, ever too late to rewrite the story of our lives, except we don't have to worry about writing the story of our lives. We just have to finish the sentence that we're on and then write a next one and the next one. And before you know where you are, you've written a whole new chapter, and God willing, it will be a long, long time before you finish the book, but let's finish it on a high, yeah? Let's have a happy ending. But we can't get there today. We have to get there through our lives. And our lives are nothing more than a series of tiny moments strung together, good, bad or indifferent, that when we look back, we call it life. Now, I learned, and I'm not very good when it comes to learning stuff about myself. It takes an awful long time. My nan used to say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Yeah? I sort of flip that on its head these days, especially when I'm talking about myself. And that is, you can lead a human to knowledge, but you can't make them learn. If they don't want to learn, and I didn't for the longest of times, you know, we'll make all the excuses in the world. Can't do this because I haven't got enough time, I haven't got enough money, I'm too ugly, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too stupid. It's all bullshit, basically. And I was the biggest bullshitter of them all for many, many years. But I understand now that in and around all that, it's also never ever too late to come to know, own and celebrate the uniqueness which serves to make us, each and every one of us. We're all different. Even identical twins have different fingerprints. We're unique. We were each of us born to stand out, not fit in. Period. There isn't anybody in this world who does not have the potential to become and absolutely smash anything they want to do on any given day. When we understand that in striving for perfection, becoming a people pleaser, being afraid of the opinions of others, or God forbid, being perceived as a failure, incidentally, failure, it doesn't exist. There isn't one single successful person in this entire world who has never failed. Not one. When we acknowledge, and we're able to do so successfully, when we're able to acknowledge our weaknesses and our strengths, when we're accepting of the fact that whoever and whatever we are, all of us, just as we are, we're enough, then we come to realise, perhaps for the first time, when we look into ourselves, that actually, do you know what? None of us can fail at being us. Never. None of us can fail at being us. That's a fact. None of us are in competition with anybody, only ourselves. The only person we have to be better than is the person that we were yesterday. You know, learn from yesterday, live for today, strive for a better tomorrow. And that comes all embroiled in choices and all the rest of it. Of course, we're allowed to scream and shout out and cry along the way. Do you know what? But once we've done all that, we also need to understand that giving up's rarely an option. I almost gave up completely, except I did it subconsciously, yeah? But giving up is rarely an option. Whatever you do today, guys, today, tomorrow, whenever, always, don't ever forget that we are all of us only one decision away from changing our lives for the better forever. Remember, everything, absolutely everything, is temporary. Problems, situations, circumstances, the neighbour's dog barking next door, everything is temporary, especially your life. My life was almost completely temporary 6 years ago, and I learned, thank goodness, in surviving that there was a different way. Now, all that said, and with the enormous benefit of hindsight and experience, I also learned this, that for all of us, that same life, our own lives, is and always should be a learning curve. Going back to leading a human to knowledge and it not learning, learn something every day about yourself. When we're self-aware and we choose to learn about ourselves, I tell you what, things start to change. They really do. When we can acknowledge our fears, particularly, and understand why we feel that in the first place, we're half a way nearer to solving any issues that we have surrounding them. When we can imagine the consequences of staying stuck where we are, if we're still in the same place as we are today, next week, will it matter? Probably not. Will it matter in 12 months? Possibly. Will it matter in 5 years? Maybe, depending where you are. If you're in a really good place, then clearly you want it to continue. If you're not, you need it to change. But there's only one person that can do that, friends, and that's you. Be willing to change your perspective. We have to understand that anybody and everybody on this planet has the right to their own view and perspective on life. It's not going to be the same as ours, and that will include people's opinions of you as well. One of the most important things that I understood in surviving and recovering on my journey was the importance of finding a tribe, finding my tribe, and surrounding myself with like-minded, supportive people. I think it was Stephen Covey who said, we're the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Yeah? Now that can be good or bad, and some people, to be fair, you might not want to do anything about, not being around them. But there are lots of things that you can do to offset that. None of the above, none of what I've said over this last few minutes will ever make a difference unless we know individually that without the need or desire for any of us, if we say we want something to change for the better, but we don't have the need or the desire or a big enough why to take consistent, persistent, positive action, doesn't matter what it is. It could be losing weight, stopping drinking, applying for a new job, dumping the boyfriend, whatever. Unless we're brave enough and have the courage to be fearlessly authentic and stand up for who and what we are, and in being able to do that, take the consistent, persistent, positive action that it needs, nothing, people, will change. Ever. The question is, would that be a good thing? Now, I could quite happily talk all day long about this, because it's something, as I said before, that I'm absolutely passionate about. And I'd just like to say that if anything that I've ever said, let alone on here just now, but if anything I've said that I've just shared has struck a chord with you, resonated with you in some way, or perhaps helped you to realise that it's never too late to take a chance to change and step up to into the best version of yourself that it's possible to be. Yeah? Maybe if it's not for you, your friends, your neighbour, somebody in your family. I get that all the time. Actually, I'm really okay, Sue, but could you have a word with? Yeah? If any of that makes any sense at all, and you'd like to explore how you could take yourself forward in your lives, then in that case, I invite you to hop onto one of a limited number of complimentary calls I've got going. I've opened some Fearless Strategy calls, totally complimentary. I've made several available in January. Again, because I can't tap and type and talk at the same time. I'm having all on, keeping the camera on and talking. But I will drop a link in the comments below to my calendar in a little while when it goes live. If you want to explore how you could become the best version of yourself that it's possible to be, or maybe you have a particular issue that you want to address and you don't know how, book yourself into my calendar. Grab a coffee, we'll meet online, we'll have a chinwag, and we'll bounce some ideas around. And we'll dig. I'll gladly, happily spend an hour of my time with you to dig a little deeper into whatever it is that you've got going off, and explore how you realistically can get from where you are now to where you not only desire to be, but where you deserve to be. Does that sound fair? An hour of my time, a cup of coffee, and I promise not to bend your ear, but you might get your ass kicked. The stories we tell ourselves get us into trouble. But when we change our stories, in time, we change our mindset, and over a little bit more time, we change our lives. If you don't remember me pre this incarnation, please feel free to go over onto my personal profile, or go to my business pages, Sue Kerr, Feel Less, Live More, or I've got a support group you can join, Everything Begins and Ends With You. There are photos in there that you could happily print off for all I care, print off and stick them in the window. They'll keep the burglars away. But that's the difference in my life. You know, I chose to take a chance to choose to change because it was that or not have a life to moan about anymore. And whilst I still moan about my life from time to time, do you know what? I'm normal. I'm human. There's no such thing as perfection. We were born to be real, ladies and gentlemen. We are unique, but we were born to be real, not perfect. Do yourselves a favour. Grab an hour of my time. I'll pop the link in the comments below. Please, when this goes up, when I post it up, please share it along. And if you've made any comments, I'll get to them in a little while. And take care. Whatever you do for the rest of the day, have fun. Enjoy yourselves, and more importantly, have the courage to be who you really are. See you later. Bye.